Welcome back to HQ Spotlight. And speaking of Spotlight, it's time to let Denzel Boston shine. We are breaking down what sets the Washington receiver apart. He caught 125 passes for over 1,700 yards and 20 touchdowns at Washington over the last 2 seasons. So we can now say hello to a bright and festive Emory Hunt coming off of Easter weekend as we put Denzel Boston in the NFL Draft Prospect Spotlight. All right, so Boston did not run the 40 at the Combine, Emory. I'm assuming, though, you're not holding that against him. What are his strengths?
Definitely not holding that against him. I love the fact, Tiffany, that he is a great route runner versus man and zone cover. So when you're route runner versus man, it's just about winning versus leverage, knowing how to use your frame to kind of give them that little chicken wing at the top of the route to break open and create separation, even though you're not fast. And versus zone is about your recognition and understanding of the game and how you can recognize coverage on the fly, knowing when and where to settle down and make yourself available. I also like the fact that he has strong hands. The hands are important. That's probably priority number one for a wide receiver. Can you catch the football? He can go up confidently. We have this thing in football where we say you can slow the ball down with your eyes. That means you hyper-focus on the point of the football. He can do that and do it at any level of the field. And I like that he's versatile. He can play inside as a big slot receiver or on the outside as a traditional X or Z. So he does a lot of things extremely well, which is why he's my #1 inside receiver in this draft class.
I love that, slowing the ball down with your eyes, obviously making it easier to catch. Okay, we talk about the strengths. Of course, now we have to talk about the weaknesses. Are there many? Because there have been some concerns about his explosiveness.
Well, and that's the biggest key. He's not a sudden athlete or an overly explosive one. So he's more of a guy that needs a long runway to have success. So if you're playing bump press, he'll beat you all day. But if you're playing off coverage, it's going to take him a while to get open. And he's a build-up speed type of a guy, which is unique because I feel like he's someone that gets underrated as a catch-and-run threat. So because he's someone that's not sudden or overly explosive or not the fastest guy or 4.4, 4.3 guy, he is still valuable after the catch with the ball in his hands. I think that right there shows you how much the speed, the raw speed numbers really matter or it doesn't matter when you're looking at a prospect long-term.
Yeah, it certainly does. You listed all of that, but let's talk about then who the player comp could be in the league for Boston. Who does he make you think of?
Because he has the frame and because he can win short, intermediate, or deeper down the field, I feel like he reminds me so much of Nico Collins of the Houston Texans. When you think about someone like Nico Collins and what he does in terms of winning in the right moments and needing to make the plays that are there to be made in the most crucial parts of a ball game for Houston, he's the go-to guy. That's what Denzel Boston is. Sometimes we watch Nico Collins win short, intermediate, deeper down the field, explosive plays despite not being the quote-unquote fastest. We get all of that from Denzel Boston just in a Washington Huskies uniform.
Yeah, you could put that ball up and Nico Collins 9 times out of 10, I shouldn't say 10 out of 10, really. He's got to come down with it. That big of a threat, so that's a great comparison there. Let's find the best fit for Boston then. Could the Browns use a Nico Collins type player? They've got the 6th and 24th overall picks.
Yeah, the Browns could use a big dog at wide receiver. When we're talking about big dog, we're talking about a bona fide X receiver, someone that can be your go-to guy down in, down out, Mr. Reliable. That's what the Browns need because it'll help slide everyone down to their proper slot. Jerry Jeudy is a perfect 1B to someone's 1A. And Isaiah Bond is a perfect slot guy. And now when you bring in a Denzel Boston, you slide Jeudy to that Z. And now Isaiah Bond could be in that slot, and Harold Fannin has more advantageous look. So Boston right there would be ideally suited for the Browns at pick 24, not pick number 6.
Okay, make sure you clarify that there. The Dolphins have broken it down. They are building things back up. Jalen Waddle was traded away. He's in Denver. Does Boston fit in Miami?
It really does. Not only do you see a lot of Boston snowbirds fly down to Miami, that's a geographical reference. I had to bring one to the table. But most importantly, they bring in Tutu Atwell. They bring in Jalen Tolbert. Just what I talked about with the Browns. Those are essentially number 2 and number 3 options in the passing game. So they need a number 1 option. I think that's where Denzel Boston, with the additional first-round pick the Dolphins have, would slide right in and make perfect sense. He becomes the go-to guy for Malik Willis, giving him a wide catch radius to make some big plays down the field.
It's like we're on the same page, bright colors, thinking alike, with these kind of jokes. Anyway, let's go on to the Saints. They had the number 8 overall pick. Would you like to see them use it on a receiver like Denzel Boston?
Yeah, because when you look at Chris Olave, I think Chris Olave can be one of those receivers that you can move around, keep him off the line of scrimmage, allow him to go make big plays deeper down the field, helps take away some of the volume that he gets and some of the double coverage, because Denzel Boston can be that short intermediate option for Tyler Shuck. And your deeper option now, your go-get-it guy, can go be Chris Olave. So New Orleans, we know they were devoid of playmakers outside of Olave last year and Jawan Johnson at tight end. So you didn't Denzel Boston at any iteration of the draft, first or second round, would make a lot of sense for New Orleans.
All right, well, let's go stay in the NFC South then with the Buccaneers, because they are going to be in need of a receiver. Mike Evans is on to the 49ers now in free agency. How could Boston be a fit there?
Well, I'm not going to say he's Mike Evans
No,
light.
we're not doing that.
We're not doing that, but he has the frame of a Mike Evans, and that's something that's vacated with Mike Evans going to San Francisco. You get a bigger body guy in there, and I like what they already have in tow. They have a lot of good receiving options, but the reason why I put him here is because you have to worry about the health of Chris Godwin, and can he sustain 17 full games out there on the perimeter? If he can't, you have an option ready to go, or to help him sustain that 17-game season, you bring him along slowly, you drop him in there every now and then in crucial situations. I'm talking about Chris Godwin. Therefore, you help get the best of everybody out there at the receiving corps.
Yeah, Godwin's dealt with some injuries over the years. The Jets have the 2nd and 16th overall picks. Maybe Boston's the missing piece that helps this team maybe do a 180 from last year.
They put everything on Garrett Wilson's shoulders. He's playing X, he's playing Z. He handled the tolls at the Lincoln Tunnel. He's doing everything out in this tri-state area. This guy needs some help. And again, you could trust him, but he gets banged up because he's getting so much action. So now you put a Denzel Boston there. You alleviate some of the pressure off Garrett Wilson. You slide A.D. Mitchell down to where he can be the constant move piece and big play guy as well until he gets up to level with his consistency. So Boston makes a ton of sense in New York. I know that's blasphemous to say, but that makes so much sense for Denzel Boston and also Garrett Wilson to be out there 1-2 for Geno Smith.
See, we got to interchange our city names like with the team names, so then it doesn't do that whole Boston in New York or Boston in Miami thing. Hey, but we can
Boston,
do that.
East Rutherford, you know what I'm saying? Boston, Jersey. These are New Jersey Jets.
We can actually do that in the next segment. So sit tight, Emory, because we're going to see you in just a bit. So take a look here at the CBS Sports wide receiver prospect rankings. And there he is, the man of the segment, Denzel Boston, that is. He is 6 on this list. The receiver out of Washington. He is the 34th, though, overall prospect ranking.